G'day there guys, welcome back to another episode of r/Idontworkherelady. If you love today's content, please do tell me what you think of it down in the comments, smash that like button, and get ready for a great episode. Posted by user, A Bear Sniffed My Head. Titled, Lady talks to the manager about my service, then goes to where I actually work and finds my manager. This happened years ago. I'm male, at Walmart, and a lady asks for help with a heavy item. I talked to her for a while, then continued to do my shopping. I went through checkout, and the lady was talking to the manager, F, by the registers. She pointed at me, and the manager smiled. I walked up to them as the manager explained that he, OP, works at Wendy's. The lady was slightly embarrassed, but we walked out together. I loaded the stuff onto the back seat and talked to her husband that was waiting for her. She kept saying, you know, just like my great-grandmother. The next day, my manager asked if I was the one that helped the lady at Walmart. There are a few of us with the same name, so I do a nice little thing, and this lady goes out of her way to tell my manager about it, and I remember it for the rest of my life. Aw, wholesome. Posted by user Los/Lon. Titled, He's not a doctor. Yes, he is. I saw him on TV. Not quite sure this fits, but wasn't sure where else it would. So I had a friend since college who's a great guy. I love him to pieces, but I've occasionally considered ending the friendship because his wife is so jarringly dumb. For the life of me, I do not know what he gets from her. Okay, I do. She's one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen in real life, but even still, I don't know how he does it. She's sweet, she means well, but there are sandwiches more intellectually stimulating. Jesus. A while back, I had a friend visiting, Camden, and she was dropping her kids by to hang out with mine. I invited her to stay for a bite to eat because yes, she's exquisitely dumb, but she's perfectly friendly. Camden's been trying to break into acting, and he recently had a bit part on a TV medical drama. So I brought it up. Camden just recently had a small role as a doctor on this show. She went, that's so exciting, congratulations. That must not be easy to get a job there. So what kind of doctor are you? And he explained, it was a very minor role. I didn't get a specialty or anything. I didn't even get a name. And she laughed and went, well, we all feel that way when we first start, regardless of what job. Just keep working hard and you'll get all that stuff over time. But don't sell yourself short. It's not easy to be a doctor. And he took the compliment and went into how he went about playing the role, the body language he tried to adopt for the intensive care units, that sort of stuff. Then she cut him off and went, actually, you know what? If you wouldn't mind, my son actually had this oblong cyst developing on the small of his back for a couple weeks now. I'd really appreciate if you could take a look. So we both laughed, thinking she was joking. And I was impressed with her uncharacteristically high-level joke. But then she started to call her son over. It's just like her to start a funny joke and then take it way too far. Camden, confused and weirded out by the whole thing, started saying, no, they didn't teach us any of that medical stuff for the part. I can't, help you with this. I jumped in and changed the subject, but she left shortly after. I had long since given up on trying to explain to her why some jokes are funny and others are not, so I thought I'd let it be, even though she seemed kinda miffed when she left. Later, she came back to pick her kids up, and by then, Camden had gone home. As she was leaving, she remarked, it was very rude of your friend not to at least look at my son's cyst. It would have taken him 10 seconds. I hate how doctors think they're above helping anyone unless they're getting a check. Didn't they take an oath to always help anyone who needs medical advice or something? So, as I processed the pure bitterness in her voice, I realized she genuinely and truly thought Camden was a medical doctor. So, convinced I must be misunderstanding her, I further reiterated, No, he's an actor. He played a doctor on that show. You've seen the show. It's not a small production. It's like Grey's Anatomy or House. Everyone knows of it. And even angrier now, she said, "Of course I have. I know all about it. It's one of the best hospitals in the country. Why do you think they put it on TV? Being in the spotlight like that, you'd think he'd try and be a little more professional with people. That's all I'm saying." The surreal mix of entitlement and delusion in her statements left me dumbstruck, and I decided I must be misinterpreting this somehow, because there was no way any grown adult who votes, drives, works, and has kids of her own is that stupid. Not even her. So I just let her leave rather than risk offending her or embarrassing myself. As soon as she was gone, I called my friend, her husband, to try and catch him before she was home. I relayed the whole series of events to him, and his response is, "Oh, yeah, it's a problem, but it's not entirely her fault. Oftentimes those shows use stories ripped from headlines of the actual news, so you can see why she gets mixed up sometimes." She bumped into Camden at my anniversary party not too long after, and asked him, with genuine concern, if a character on the show who had been in an accident, again, on the show, was recovering well. He tried telling her in plainer terms, "I don't work there. I'm not a doctor. I just played one that one time." And she said she was so sorry to hear that he'd been let go, and where was he working now? So if you wonder how our country ended up where we are, know that she has a bachelor's degree from an accredited college and holds a job with several subordinates and has partial responsibility over our city's water supply. So, advocate for education reform whenever you can and enjoy these twilight years of the great American experiment. This can't be real. I refuse to believe this is real. Please tell me you're trolling us. I wish. Other top highlights of hers include remarking on how it's a sign that God loves America best because fireworks always happen on the 4th of July. She thought they were a natural phenomenon like the Northern Lights or volcanoes. Stubbornly insisting on eating an actual rose, not icing, real, off a cake, because if it's on the cake it must be edible, and calling poison control after taking baby aspirin because it's for babies, not adults. Posted by user I am unofficial. Titled, "My Dad Owns This Place." Hey Reddit, this is my very first post here, so if I do something wrong, please don't judge. This took place in China a few years ago. Please keep in mind that I'm not the best in Mandarin, so I will do my best to translate everything. My dad owns a restaurant, and whenever I go back to China, I like to help out there. I did not work there, nor do I look like I worked there. Side note, the restaurant includes places to drink tea, which is very common in China, and a bakery. I was at the restaurant one day, minding my own business and greeting all the staff. Mind you that I was around 12, although my friends say that I look older than that. The waiters and waitresses were all in their 20s and wore a uniform with the restaurant's logo. As a 12-year-old, this event was traumatizing, and I remember most of the details because this event is inked into my brain. I was walking to the bakery when an entitled woman stood up and stopped me. We're gonna call her K from now on, short for Karen. She says, "I want my drinks half off," in a snobby tone. Okay. Aren't you gonna do anything about this? No. She's extremely frustrated and says, "Aren't you gonna do something? I know the owner, and I can get you fired in a quick second. You are an entitled waiter, just walking around like you own this place. Who do you think you are, you filthy peasant?" With tears in my eyes, I say, I don't work. Luckily, my dad heard the shouting and came down. "What's going on here? Who are you?" Mind you that my dad is very humble and only likes to wear plain t-shirts and old jeans. "What did you say to my daughter?" "Why do you care? It's not like this bothers you. You guys are just servants while I know the owner. He can fire you in a heartbeat. I am the owner, and if you look down at people like that, it shows that you are not a good person. Pay and get out of my restaurant." Karen whimpers and nods. Her friends stood up and went inside to pay, and they all left, glaring at Karen. Later, my dad told me that she was just an office worker who worked for my dad's friend's company. That explains the fake Gucci, and she was fired immediately. Her friends, or co-workers, still come here often and never ask for discounts. Again, sorry for any mistakes. I'm trying to keep this vague for privacy reasons. Posted by user Webmarker. Titled, Yes, I work here. No, I won't do side work for you. Not really sure if there's a good place per se for this story, but as this sub's tagline says, sweet Jesus, can people be stupid? Several years ago, I was helping my brother run his auto repair shop. Since he's a better tech than I am, and I'm a better paper pusher than he is, he was out in the shop working on a car, and I was running the office side of the operation. I recall that it was just the two of us. The other employees were out for the day because of it being a holiday weekend. So we were in skeleton crew and catch-up mode, handling some personal and low-priority stuff. A customer came in for some AC issues, so bro checked it over and relayed to me what it needed, and I built an estimate for the customer. I don't recall the exact dollar amounts, but it was a pretty big, expensive job, despite our having among the most reasonable pricing in town. Gave the customer the estimate and he left. Well, left the office anyway. He went into the shop. I watched him for a moment with a "what the hell is he doing" face, before my attention was pulled to a ringing phone. A few minutes later, bro came into the office. Once I was off the phone, bro explained what happened. That customer that left the office and headed into the shop proper had come to him and asked if he'd be interested in doing the repair work on the side. He had said to the customer, "Didn't he give you an estimate?" Customer had replied, "Yeah, but they're too damn expensive here. I can buy the parts if you want to do it." First off, in our state at the time, Florida, auto repair is a regulated industry that requires state licensing, so shade tree work is actually illegal statewide. With some specific exceptions, like fleet maintenance for your employer, you must be state licensed to do any repairs for any form of compensation, including trades. Second, doing side work in the auto repair industry can get you fired from some shops, as by doing so, you're competing with your own employer, stealing a prospective customer, etc. And third, asking the owner of the shop to do side work because you don't want to pay the shop to do the work is probably not going to end well. Bro said that the moment he told the customer, "You do realize I'm the owner, right? The guy in the office is my brother," the color drained from his face and he couldn't get gone fast enough. Never saw that customer again, strangely enough. Posted by user G Karma. Titled, First Mistake, Red Shirt in Target. Note, this happened when I was 18. I'm a girl, 5 foot tall, and since age 16, have always carried a pocket knife with a sort of trigger just for my peace of mind. Also, I've got a huge thing about physical contact and do not like even friends and family initiating any sort of hug, pat on the back, etc. without asking. I was in Target for the first time, and I was by myself. Sort of just checking it out because we'd always been too thrifty to go to Target growing up. I was minding my own business, strolling the aisles with my basket of slightly overpriced herbal tea. I end up in this cool snack section where they had seaweed packets and tossed 2 in my basket when I realized there was a man, mid-30s, early 40s, that I've seen in the same aisles as me quite a few times. No big deal, it's just a coincidence, right? I peruse a couple more sections in the store and eventually end up past the baby and kids section and see the same middle-aged guy sort of hanging back from me, but he's following me with more intent at this point. I'm getting a little nervous, but it's not like anything's gonna happen to me in Target. What's he gonna do? Kidnap me in the middle of a Target with hundreds of people in it? I keep going, and eventually I see the kitchenware section. I stop and look up at the signs to see where exactly I want to look around. Ah, there. I take a step forward, and just as I do, the same man from earlier grabs me by my shirt collar and says, "Excuse me," and without hesitation, I grab my side, deploy my knife, point it at him, and yell back, "What the hell do you think you're doing?" We are right outside an aisle, and there are people around who saw him grab me. He looks shocked, jaw slacked and everything. I repeat to him, again, just as loud and just as expletive-filled, "Who the f*** do you think you are? Why are you following me? Why did you grab me?" He snaps out of it a bit and says, "Are employees even allowed to carry knives? What the hell are you doing? Where's your supervisor?" Now it's my turn to look dumbfounded. I say, "I'm not an employee, and even if I was, do you really just grab people whenever you go? Especially younger women?" At this point, we've got a small crowd, and I feel safe enough to put my knife back in my pocket. He spits back, "Well, if you had been paying any attention, you'd know that I've been looking around you this whole time, trying to get your attention. But you just keep walking off from me. Aren't you supposed to help people in the store?" I say, "Did you hear a word I said? I don't work here." He took a step forward to look down at me and started on about, "All you had to do was say so then. Instead, you pull a knife on me like some psycho bear." He then points out that I'm wearing a red shirt. I'm floored at this. I'm wearing a dark red and plaid long-sleeve harness crop top and black high-waisted jeans. What Target employee do you see wearing a plaid crop top? Finally, someone steps in to help. A tall, burly guy who looked like Duck Dynasty met Sons of Anarchy gets in between us and pushes the guy back and tells him that's no way to speak to anyone, and says, "I saw the whole thing. You grabbed her by the collar. She has every right to be defensive." At this, Creep backed off and Ducks of Anarchy, my hero, tells him to F off. He fires off one last "crazy bear," but walks off towards the back of the store. I sincerely thanked Mr. Hero, as I was truly grateful. Being a smaller person, even with a knife, you don't feel all that threatening. I took my crap straight to the checkout and left. Never in my life have I thought about grabbing a stranger, employee of a store or otherwise, to get their attention. I wouldn't even tap one on the shoulder. If you just say, "Excuse me," or "Hey," you're likely to get the attention of everyone in the immediate area. Maybe I was just raised differently, but I feel like not grabbing strangers is a pretty obvious social no-no. Another note. Yes, I know it's a bit paranoid to carry a knife everywhere, especially into a Target of all places. I know I could have handled this very public situation without taking my knife out, but when fear kicks in, instincts take over. I wouldn't say I regret how I handled myself, but that's just evidently psycho-crazy me. Posted by user, "It's a throwaway, baby," titled, "You're physically incapable of leaving the store?" I work at a small store on a college campus. We're right across the street from the school's bookstore and are technically a branch of it. Every semester, the bookstore hosts a poster sale outside in a tent. It's completely leased out to a company, and all transactions are done through them. I couldn't honestly tell you what we get out of it, but it's not sales. School started this week for us, and despite the nightmare in America, we're all going ahead with mostly in-person classes. Still, we've had a lot of phone calls instead of in-person sales, and I'm always grateful to the people who do them, since it benefits both of us. Today, I got a call from someone a bit different. Caller says, "Hey, I just spoke with my staff member about the details of the poster sale, and I was just calling you back to see if you could tell me the prices of the posters." I'm sorry, but I don't actually know. It's not actually under our division. We just know the dates and times because of the flyers they asked us to hand out. Well, could you go back and check for me? I'm sorry, but they don't have a website, and all the posters are different sizes and prices anyway. I can transfer you to the bookstore and someone might be able to help you over there? Well, can't you just go across the street and check for me? It's literally right there. Me, incredibly short-staffed and already having a terrible day, say, "I'm sorry, sir, I can't leave the store." "What you mean? It's literally right across the street, I'll just take a second." Me, completely taken aback that this man who isn't even a customer is asking me to literally exit my store to tell him the prices from another retailer, says, "Sir, I'm clocked in over here. I'm sorry I can't leave the store. You literally can't leave the store? Like you're physically incapable of leaving the store? Me, completely done with this day at 11 a.m., says, yes, that's correct. Wow, great customer service. Thanks. At this point, I said thank you, and he told me to have a nice day. I attempted to return the sentiment, but alas, my new friend hung up on me. And just as he was learning the traumatizing boundaries of my workplace prison, maybe one day I will escape the physical entrapment of my store. Edits, I'd just like to add that this poster sale is done entirely in person. They don't ship or hold anything or do orders over the phone, as they don't have a phone. He would have to go inside the tent no matter what. Posted by user Snoo21321, titled, Not a Letter Carrier. I live at a very large apartment complex. Where I work, you aren't allowed to lock up anything, including personal items, so I have a man bag that has locks. I also take my lunch, so I typically have 2 larger bags with me when I go home. I wear a hat because the sun is brutal where I live. The walk from my car to the mail is a good distance. The first thing I do when I get home is check the mail. When I get my mail, there is an envelope that looks odd. I'm standing outside the boxes trying to think where this could be from. Enter Crazy Lady. Crazy Lady shouts at me from about 50 feet away. Have you boxed up all the mail? I shout back, I'm not the postal clerk. What did you say? I'm not the postal clerk. Crazy Lady walking towards me yells, have you boxed up all the mail? I'm not the postal clerk. Then who are you? I live here, and I'm checking my mail. Crazy Lady almost to me says, are you stealing my mail? I live here, and I'm checking my mail. I can see the mail bags. This is my work bag and lunch bag. Crazy Lady 2 feet away says, do you have my mail or not? I live here, and I'm checking my mail. Then why do you have the postal bags? This is my work and lunch bag. Crazy Lady sighs loudly. Have you boxed up the mail or not? No, because I'm not the postal clerk. I toss the strange envelope in the apartment recycled mail bin and start to walk off. She says, this is why I never get my mail on time. You mailmen are the worst. I continue to walk off as the woman just stands there yelling. Posted by user NerdLover2528, titled, I don't work here, lady who works here. This happened to my husband at the annual corporate party for my job a few years ago. Dress code is typically casual, as my job is pretty buttoned up during work hours. It was a buffet-style food service, but for some reason that year they had servers filling drinks and whatnot at the tables where people sat to eat. Instead of waiting for a server to bring us waters, my husband just went to go get some. When he reached the table in the back of the room where the drinks were, he grabbed us 2 water bottles and started to head back to our table. I saw a lady who was a part of the serving team stop him, take the bottles of water out of his hand, and walk away. After she left, he grabbed some more waters and walked back to our table. I asked him what happened, and he said, she thought I worked here and told me table number 15 needed silverware and took the waters out of my hand and left. My husband was wearing blue jeans and a black t-shirt that had Wakanda written in the Wu-Tang font. The servers were definitely all in slacks and button-up shirts with their company logo on them. I have no idea how she thought he was a server, and we still laugh about how table 15 never got their silverware. We didn't see her for the rest of the night, but I wonder if she realized her mistake and avoided us. Note, the drink table was not in a special area, it was open for anyone to walk up to it. Posted by user IaFury203, titled, Literally pulled an I don't work here on a coworker. This definitely isn't the most interesting story, but I hope some people at least get a kick out of this. So to give a little backstory, I work in a hotel that's located behind another hotel owned by the same person. The owner has a friend that used to work at both hotels for 10 plus years, but was let go last year due to not actually doing any work while on his shift. Recently, due to the pandemic and the loss of a few staff members, the friend came back to help out with both hotels for the last 2 to 3 months. Still has the same habits as before, still not doing his work, but hey, at least I'm not pulling doubles. So about a week ago, he called me from the other hotel, in front of the hotel that I work at, and asked for help about a billing issue 5 minutes before my shift was over. I walked all the way over to the other hotel and saw there was no issue and tried to leave. But he kept me there to ask questions that, admittedly, he should have known a long time ago, seeing as he rejoined 3 months ago and had 10 plus years of experience. In the middle of his questions, the hotel phone starts ringing, and he looks straight at me and says, "Can you pick it up?" I gave him the most dead-ass look and had to say, "I'm sorry, I don't work here." Honestly, I have no idea what was going through his head when he asked me to pick up the phone, because I literally don't work there and know nothing about the other hotel. We do use generally the same reservation system, but the rooms and even the format is different. Okay, and I think that's where we're going to end today's episode, guys. As always, I do hope you enjoyed it, and maybe even learned something from these stories. Just want to say a quick shout out to my Patreon subscribers and my channel members. You guys should be on the screen right now. If you do see yourself, I want you to give yourself a little pat on the back for being amazing and supporting me on this channel, this little journey we're going on the YouTubes. I really appreciate it, and you guys enabled me to do all this amazing work. So if you do see yourself, I love your face and I'm happy to see you. Also guys, if you want to pitch in your own support, you don't have to, but channel links are down in the description below to support the Patreon, the channel membership, whatever you want to do. It's kind of like tipping me if you feel like I'm doing a good job on this channel. I will be opening up avenues for content on those in the future. Just right now I'm kind of bogged down and stuck in Ireland, but you know, it is what it is. Anyway, guys, with that said, I do hope you have a wonderful day today. Whatever you're up to, I'd love to know down in the comments below. I do hope you have a good day, night, sleep. Whatever you're up to today, tell me, and I'll see you in the next episode, guys. Bye.